Thanks for listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Mike Luke. All right, we're going to talk conference realignment. We are going to talk Fili B taking on the world. We're going to talk which coaches besides Sean Miller that Jason Scheer would like to have at Arizona for the next 5 years, and a smorgasbord of other things. Hello, Scheer.
Fili just scored again. During that intro, Fili just scored.
By the way, the deal was if Fili B scored 8 points or more, Scheer had to come on again today. By the way, Fili B had 8 when we were last talking.
He's up to 10 now.
All right. Brad Rich, by the way. Brad, you're better than this. You're smarter than me. You should have known this. Good afternoon, Mike Luke. I was thinking about yesterday when you said you hated people with 2 first names. I think you have 2 first names as well. Duh. Brad, I was making fun of you, Brad, or I was making fun of the concept. So there you go. All right, Scheer. First, we're going to talk a little conference realignment right here. News that is broken from Ross Dellinger that there is something to be with linear concepts involved with Pac-12 a board meeting today, and that they would like to have something else done by the Pac-12 Media Day, which we have been told would be the drop-dead date by many people. Doesn't sound like that's going to happen there, Jason Scheer.
Very nicely worded statement by whoever Ross's sources. And I like Ross. This has nothing to do with him, but it was linear concepts. Well, what does that mean? What kind of concept is it? Is it 1 or 2 games on a network? What does concept mean? And then it says a general framework. Well, what's a general framework? Is money even included in that general framework? And then something more specific by media day. How specific? Something to sign. Like it's a perfect statement because it's so open-ended on literally everything. But the one thing I'm confident saying is that unless something crazy happens, there won't be a deal by media day.
And keep in mind, we were assured that there would be a TV deal done by media day, and that is not that does not appear to be in the cards right now, which leads me to believe that there are more problems involved here than maybe some of the optimistic folks would like you to believe.
Well, it's going to be interesting because Wilner, who I respect, has been consistent. He said it again today that it would be a nightmare if there's no deal by media day. And I'm really curious if there's no deal by media day, how Wilner reacts to the whole situation.
Well, because keep in mind, though, by the way, Scheer, you're looking sharp today. A lot of people giving you a lot of compliments right now, my friend.
I shaved yesterday for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, dude, Scheer actually has an Al Capone look at times, dude. We were at a wedding one time, and he looked like he was Al Capone just sitting there like in his Phil Jackson big chair. But this is what it basically comes down to, though. We've been hearing this nonsense left and right. It's like me continuing to tell people that I'll be bigger than Jacob Franklin at some point. At some point, you're going to have to see it to believe it. I see Jacob Franklin shaking his head right there. I'm shaking my head as well. Who knows? Maybe it happens. I hope it doesn't. But the fact that we're now looking past Pac-12 Media Day, possibly, come on.
And I do wonder if, because everyone has started to say the new narrative is that the Pac-12 schools won't leave until a deal is presented. Maybe the accelerated process is, hey, you better present us a deal. And so now he's scurrying to say, okay, I got to present these guys a deal or else they're going to leave. I mean, that's something that we're not paying attention to either.
Now, the question is, how does Canzano spin this? Does Canzano spin this that this is going to be a linear deal as he told you? Don't worry about the times. Don't worry about the statutes. This is what's going to happen?
This is easy. He's going to say that ESPN laid off half the network today in order to get more money for the Pac-12 deal. Easy.
Dude, that's why we have you. That's why we've had you on 3 times this week. 1 time pinch hitting, the other 2 times were actually scheduled. Jacob Franklin was supposed to come on this week. Jacob Franklin, look at me right now. There you go. Jacob Franklin wants to join the chat. Jacob Franklin, hop in here. Come on, Jacob Franklin, hop in here.
Why?
Jacob Franklin was making fun of me earlier today.
I was.
Here's the deal. I told Jacob Franklin, our esteemed producer, I said that, did you have to leave the meeting because the grown-ups were saying? And then he says, I'm the one with the kid, Mike. Jacob, I didn't like that.
But is there a lie spoken there?
There's definitely 2 grown-ups here and one child. I'll let you guys figure out who the child is.
2 people can put together their own television stands.
Oh, hey. Oh, that was a cheap shot. What he's talking about is the television stand behind me. I paid for somebody, and he was here for 8 hours to do it. And it was during a U of A basketball game. And so he asked me if he could stick around to watch the second half and the post-game show. I'm like, dude, get out of here, man. It's very annoying. Jacob, that was a good little sneak diss right there. We like that.
Yeah, sorry, I'm getting a phone call.
All right, Jacob, you're dismissed. Thanks.
Right.
All right. So that's kind of where we're at with the conference realignment right there. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not really I'd like to go to the Big 12, but, who knows? I will say, though, that the fact that we're this far along and that we're still talking about maybe there's something by Pac-12 Media Day, sheer, that does nothing for me.
No, does nothing. I'm at the point. Just show me the deal, man. Just get this done. I'm exhausted. It's been a year. Just get it done.
You know what? It's funny. All the Pac-12, and we're going to have my guy Tony Altimore on Monday, your guy's sheer. Here's my thing, though, with all the people that bash Brett Yormark. They always say, oh, he's always talking. He's always back channeling. He's dealing. Dude, he gets done what he wanted to get done. All of these guys here at the Pac-12 keep talking about a deal, and then they keep spiking the football, and nothing happens. I don't like that.
Don't talk about it. Be about it.
Be about it right there. That's where we're at. All right, now, speaking of a guy that's about it, let's talk a little bit about Fili B. But first, you might think to yourself, where could I watch Fili B this coming year? Fili B, you can watch him at the Tap and Bottle away game watch parties right there. We've just lost 2 viewers once we brought up Fili B. Don't like that. Come back. But again, Tap and Bottle watch parties downtown. Scott and Rebecca, as you know, do a great job. And you can come to the Northwest location. You can also see me there at times. And again, just great stuff. And you can drink 4 Peaks there as well. All right, now let's talk a little bit about Fili B. Tough outing against France. A lot of turnovers. But here's the thing, dude. When Magic Johnson's going 1-on-5 against the Celtics, do you really expect Magic to be Magic?
Look, all I'm saying is the game's not over, Mike. It's not over. It's 95-49. Philly has them right where he wants them.
Come back for the ages?
6 turnovers. He just turned it over.
Read Fili B's spot for us right now.
Well, look, all I know is they're down, 59-69. Okay. He's only minus 37.
Right.
All right. He's 3 for 11 from the field. He made his 1 3-point attempt, 4 of 5 from the free throw line, 9 rebounds.
All right, I was going to say, he's a big dude. And you know what? Fili B's more physical nature, I think, would probably play well in the Big 12. What would you say to that, Sheer? Got to get a little bit more physical? Got to get a little bit more skilled? Fili B a better fit in the Big 12?
Serbia they have 25 turnovers, but Philly only has 6 of them.
Don't blame Philly. That's where we're at. But again, I'm a little bit more optimistic about Philly. Hey, bigger. What are you more optimistic about? A Pac-12 media deal by the time football season starts, or Fili B with an over-under of 6 points for a career high this season?
Fili B.
Yep, that's where we're at. We have absolutely no faith in this whatsoever. How many days till football starts? We like that mantra. We're going to talk about the running back room for U of A and where it stands. But again, wanted to get you up to date on all the Pac-12 media realignment. There's no news. Absolutely no news. Okay, now.
Is USA going to lose tomorrow?
What's that?
Is USA going to lose tomorrow?
I think so. Hey, let's talk about Boswell for a second here. I think it's a fair point. It was a fair point because we try to be objective here. I will say that I'm not concerned about Boswell, but the turnovers have been they've surprised me a little bit. He's been somewhat careless with this during this FIBA U19 game, sure.
Yeah, he hasn't played well. I mean, today he did not play well. I think he was 0 for 6 from the field. It's just it's weird because I think that he's a great example of like he doesn't fit in whatever offense they're trying to run. It's a lot of
you blame Tad Boyle.
Yeah, it's a lot of ISO, you do you type of offense. Tommy Lloyd is the complete opposite. And so I don't have as big of a concern, but it's weird. Like you watch France, they play as a team really well. Spain is a team really well. USA is a bunch of super talented guys that are trying to out-talent you. And it's worked so far. But I'd actually be surprised if the US won the entire thing.
By the way, Mark Londo, you tag us in everything. I give you a lot of props for your imagination on a lot of these Kliavkoff things. They make it very funny. Good stuff right there. All right, now, so let's talk about Tommy Lloyd. You brought up the Tommy gun. We're going to go in depth on the Tommy gun right now. We're going to talk coaches for the next 5 years that you would rather have or you think are equal to the Tommy gun when it comes to college basketball. There's one easy choice for me, and then after that, it starts to get a little Bill Self.
Well, see, this is what I was going to say, because is it Bill Self?
Isn't it?
Obviously, I would Bill Self to me is the best coach of the country, right?
Right.
But what I'm saying is 5 years. We're assuming his health will be fine and all that.
Yeah. We're assuming everybody's healthy. Heck, I'm putting Rick Pitino on this list. I mean, come on.
Yeah, okay. Then yes, Bill Self is the easy choice.
Bill Self is the easy number one right there. Then after that, I think it becomes a little convoluted. You got some guys that you would clearly take, or that you might clearly take. I'm going to get beat up on your boards for saying this, but I believe that he's going to have so much talent, and I actually think he's a good coach. I would also probably take John Shire for the next 5 years.
Yeah, I disagree.
All right, you disagree, Shear.
I think Shire's going to do well at Duke, but I got to see a little bit more here.
All right, so you're not taking Shire. Is there anybody else that you're clearly taking over the Tommy gun?
Clearly,
besides Sean Miller.
There's a few names I think, like I'm going to give you one. Ready? Tommy Lloyd or Scott Drew?
I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up.
Scott Drew's do you know Scott Drew's only like 52, 53 years old?
I know, dude. He's super young. And when did you finally come around on Scott Drew? Because you thought Scott Drew sucked for the longest time.
Yeah, but I've liked him for the last few years.
All right.
But I did. I was down on him for a little bit.
All right. By the way, Fili B now 11 points, 11 rebounds, 5 of a kind media. Keep this running. This is going to be an ongoing Fili B talk during this show.
4 for 12. That's not bad. Oh, he just turned it over again, Mike. He now has 7 turnovers to no assists.
You know what I worry about though with Drew a little bit is a little bit of the Altman type thing. Again, put down my guy. But I do worry if that core, what he's able to do outside of that core that was so successful for so long. That's what worries me a little bit. But I think he's clearly right there in the discussion. If hey, dude, we're gonna get to the must bus. Don't worry, man. We saved the best for last around here.
Not on my list. Not on
the
my
must
list.
bus.
Not on my list.
All right. Scott Drew, I don't go Scott Drew over the Tommy gun, but he's right there in the discussion. If you want to take Scott Drew, I'm totally cool with that. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would take him over Tommy, but I think he's right there.
I mean, he does have a national title.
Differently than you. I looked at age, so I like who's young or younger and kind of on the uptick. So I had like 4 or 5 guys that I –
All right, so who's another one that you would clearly take over Tommy Lloyd?
I don't know if there is a number. I mean, Self. Bill Self.
Right. Self's the only one.
Yes, the only one. I have like 4 or 5 you could probably make arguments for.
All right, we're going to get into some we're going to get into some interesting ones right here. Why does this, let's see here. Hold on a second. Updated reads June. All right, we're going to get into some interesting ones right here. How about, well, you know what? Let's just rip this scab off right now. Eric Musselman. You hate Eric Musselman. This has been somebody that you have not been a fan of for the longest of times. To give you an idea, Shear has slandered Eric Musselman. You said he would never get a Power 5 job, and if he went there, he would behave himself out of it. 2 Elite Eights later, Jason Shear is sitting here getting punched in the face by the shirtless Muss.
Philly just scored again. He has
13 and 11?
He might get it if he could turn it over 3 times in 20 seconds.
Triple-double?
I don't like how Muss – I don't think the way that Muss builds his team is sustainable, which is you're just bringing in dudes left and right from the transfer portal. They're only going to be there for a year. You're hoping everything meshes, and then you're going to it just to me it's not a sustainable way of winning.
All right, so you're not in on the Muss then. You're not in on Muss on this one. You don't believe that you could make the case even for Muss.
If you were an AD and I said, okay, we have Tommy Lloyd and Muss on the phone, you got to pick one. They'll both take the job. Who are you picking?
The Tommy gun. But I do. Hey, what Brad Rich? Odds of Fili B getting a double-double at Arizona. I like that.
No, calm down.
You don't think that Fili B will ever get a double-double at Arizona?
Dude, I think the only reason he has a double-double today is because Serbia is 16 of 60. The game's over, by the way. We have a final line.
What do we got?
13 points, 4 of 12 shooting, 11 rebounds. He got an assist to end the game. So 7 turnovers, 1 assist, and he also got a block.
Well, if I were to tell you that before the game that he would have that stat line, wouldn't we take it?
Would you tell me that the score was 98-59?
I would say something like that. Fili B, 13 points, 11 rebounds, 7 turnovers to 1 assist. But you got to remember, though, Fili B's not out there to facilitate. Fili B is out there to get his.
I mean, he probably looked at his teammates and said, who am I passing to? Like, look who I am. I'm the only dude playing college out here.
That's a good point. All right. So Eric Musselman, though, does this bother you at all? And again, I'm going to play devil's advocate here because I would take the Tommy gun. So again, but does it bother you at all that Eric Musselman has had much better tournament success than Tommy Lloyd, being that his stuff's kind of been the opposite, where he's been very successful, or Tommy Lloyd's been very successful during the regular season, and they've kind of struggled, whereas Muss has not, but they pick it up in the postseason. Does that bother you?
I will say this. I think Tommy has to do better in the tournament this season.
Right.
I think that he can't. There's no first round elimination. They have to get out of the first weekend.
Right.
I mean, it is vital. With Muss, yeah, I mean, it always depends. Like, it's always, to me, that's the great debate with college basketball. If I told you that Arizona won the conference but didn't make it out of the first weekend, would you be happier with that as opposed to Arizona made it to the Sweet 16 but finished fourth in the conference?
No, I'd much rather make the Sweet 16. I mean, at the end of the day, we have enough conference titles around here. It's time to step it up come tournament time, Sheer.
College basketball is just weird to me in the way that we define success.
All right, we're going to get to
last season was successful, but like the year when they lost to Houston 2 years ago, was that a successful year?
All things considered, yes. Yeah, for sure. This past year,
no.
It just is what it is. All right. Now we're going to get, so you don't even put Muss in the discussion. Now let me ask you this. Who do you think is more likely to make a Final Four in the next 3 years, Muss or Tommy Lloyd?
Tommy Lloyd.
I like that a lot. All right. Now let's get to BetMGM right here. All right. Here's the deal with BetMGM. As you all know, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code PHNX. Jacob Franklin, we're talking BetMGM, so put that up there. Here's the deal. Use bonus code PHNX. There's a few different offers depending on where you live. But for our Arizona audience, we'll get up to $100 in bonus bets on your first wager at BetMGM. Again, make sure you use bonus code PHNX. Now, think about it like this. If you wanted to bet Arizona right now to be able to, let's say, let's just say Arizona to win the national title, you would want to go to BetMGM right there. Enter code PHNX. Check out the show notes for details. Let's hear great Shane Diefenbach with the disclaimer.
Disclaimer, 21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369, New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
All right, now we're back to coaches here. Jason Shear is drawing a hard line at Eric Musselman right there. He's saying that Eric Musselman, he would not rather have him for the next 5 years. Fair enough. All right, Tom Izzo. I'm going Tommy Gunn over Tom Izzo because I think, first of all, he's in the Big Ten. But second of all, they got a loaded team this year, but Michigan State's kind of fallen off this last 4 or 5 years. It kind of feels a little bit like the end of the loot reign right there, but he does have a loaded roster this year, Shear.
Yeah, but like Izzo's an example of what I said before. Like, I take his age into account. Like, who knows what he's gonna be like in 5 years? You know, he's old.
Let's just assume he's fine.
But he's old. I don't like old dudes. I'm an ageist. How old is Tom Izzo?
He's not as old as
68. He's 68 years old.
Yeah, that's fine, dude. 68's the new 38. Come on.
I mean, he's a really good coach, but Izzo's weird to me too because
he hasn't been the Izzo of previous years,
right.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly a very good coach, but he hasn't been like before. It was like Tom Izzo making a Final Four or guaranteed. And I like Izzo, but no.
By the way, we just got a text message from the great William Brad Alice. He just said, "Do we know what happened with Chief?" No, we don't know what happened with Chief, and that's a good thing.
I didn't do anything though.
But if you did, you're doing God's work right there. All right, Izzo, I go Tommy Lloyd over him as well. I think he's got a lot more upside. All right, now one that I've got a little bit of a soft spot in my heart for, Rick Pitino. First of all, Rick Pitino needs to be in college basketball. I don't care if he's a scumbag. I don't care what you say about him. Rick Pitino is the man. He won a ton of games at St. John's. At Iona. Saul Bookman right here. Chief, peace. He won a ton of games at Arizona or at Iona. you look at what he's doing at St. John's, Sheer. He's already brought in. This was a bad team. They're already going to be. They're already considered a fringe top 25 team. Brought in Jordan Dingle, a guy that everybody wanted, along with Wiltshire from North Carolina. He kept an NBA guy. Rick Pitino and college basketball is good for each other. I believe if I could have Rick Pitino or Tom Izzo for the next 5 years, I would take Rick Pitino. Sheer.
He's 70 years old.
Yeah, but dude, hey, on a serious note. When it comes to older coaches, and we're going to say older coaches, I'm of the opinion that I know it when I see it. Now, listen, they can fall off quickly. You and I covered the end of the Lute era. We both knew that, Lute was not Lute at the end. When I watch Rick Pitino, I see a guy that's still incredibly sharp, that coached you watch him, he's put together a roster. I do not diminish Rick Pitino right here. I think and St. John's, I think he's going to kill it.
St. John's, that was an easy hire for St. John's. It comes down to who do I like? Can I trust Rick Pitino to coach my team for 5 years?
Let's just say you can.
So you want me to take Rick Pitino and change what we know and just take his coaching?
Just take his coaching and what he's been able to add.
Very good coach. X's and O's. He's one
of the best coaches ever.
Absolutely. But I don't know if I can say if I hire you now and have you for 5 years, you're going to leave my program in better shape than when you came.
Wait a second. You don't think he's going to leave St. John's in better shape than when he came?
I don't know. There's a lot of Italian restaurants in New York, man.
All right, but he's done a really good job recruiting. He's going to get the players. Why? I don't understand this. I saw Bookman right here. You can't, Mike. He's gone after 3 years. Who are we to say that?
His history. It's you think
he was in Louisville for 20 years.
But Louisville's Louisville. It's not St. John's. If he doesn't win at St. John's in the first 2 years, he's gone.
Don't you think though that he's going to win at St. John's?
Not like you do. You think the dude's going to win the national championship when he's at St. John's. You do. You absolutely do. He's not.
Final Four?
Who has the next better 5 years in the Big East, St. John's or Xavier?
Oh, I'm going St. John's. You got to bet on that one.
That's easy. Xavier.
I do apologize because we came up with this topic late. I should have sent a graphic to Sean to put in here because this would have been a fantastic graphic, the pros and the cons right here. Rick Pitino, though, has a little bit of a sizzle to him. We're going to keep this one on the side burner for a little bit. All right, you and Saul Bookman, the great Saul Bookman, are both on record as saying that you're skeptical of Rick Pitino.
Yeah. He's not even on my list.
Fair enough. You guys can be wrong together. I've worked for both of you guys, so that probably says something about where I am and where both of you are. But all right, now let's talk about, by the way, Saul's a better boss than you, a much better boss than you.
Oh, I'm sure. He pays you, so.
Yeah, that is true. That does help. Now, let's talk Tony Bennett.
Yep, he's on my list.
I can't.
I'm not saying I would take him over Tommy, but it's a debate. He's 50 years old.
I can't watch that style, though.
Oh, I hate the style, but he wins. He's a good coach, man. There's no doubt about it.
Would you rather? All right. Yes. Unfortunately, I do have to say that he's probably in that discussion right there. I don't like it at all, but he's in that discussion. But I can't watch that brand of basketball, though.
No, I agree completely. It's a boring basketball, but he's a really good coach, and he's laughing at Saul. He's a really good coach, and he's into the discussion.
Right. He's in the discussion, but again, Tony Clifton put it very well. I fall asleep watching Bennett's teams. That is a big, big part of this right here.
But it's not like Muss has exciting basketball. You don't watch Muss and go it's horrible to watch.
No, but you know what Muss is all about. To quote R. Kelly, Muss is about the after party. That's because
basketball is super boring to watch.
It is because it's just pick and roll, high ball ISOs. But at the end of the day, you also know it's going to be fun. Rich Carrillo has entered in here. Mike and Shear. St. Mary's Randy Bennett blows Tommy Lloyd out of the water. Rich, you do not like Tommy Bennett. You do not like you do not like Tommy Lloyd. I get it, but you're going a little bit overboard right here. Tommy Gunn's better.
Calm down.
You don't have Randy Bennett in that list, do you?
No, I can tell you my whole list right now.
All right. Well, no. This is called a tease here. I'm trying to get better at teases. We're not going to go with that one right there. All right. So you have Tony Bennett in that list of where you can make the case.
Yes.
So you don't have a man in Rick Pitino that's got like 7 Final Fours, multiple national.
I did this differently than you. I took age into account.
Well, right. But I didn't put Roy Williams on the list, though, either.
I mean, like, heck, if we're going this route, why not Jay Wright?
For sure. All right. Let's try to keep this on. The thing about the AZ Wildcats podcast is we try to keep everything linear, like the Pac-12 media deal. TJ Van Martyr, TJ2 on Twitter, came in late. Did we already discuss Sean Miller? Sheer against his better judgment did not put Sean on this list, even though I know in his secret list, I'm going to ask Shelby about this. I guarantee you that Sean Miller is on that list.
I have my list right here. Sean Miller's not on the list.
All right. Who's your next guy? Let's hear your next guy.
The next guy, I'm pulling it up, is Nate Oates.
Yes, Nate Oates is on my list too.
I don't feel good about it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want him to be on my list.
But Nate Oates was a really, we got to be honest though for a second here. Nate Oates was a really good hire. One thing I could say about Byrne hires good coaches.
Not good people.
Not good people, but definitely good coaches. Nate Oates is a really good coach. And
Yes.
we saw that firsthand against Buffalo. Oh, Sean Miller diss right there, Sheer. But Nate Oates, like in all seriousness, Nate Oates, the way he's recruiting at Alabama, the way that he can just run really good players off because we're going to bring in other good players, that's definitely generally something that is, that's self-sustaining, and it doesn't feel like he's a flash in the pan either.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good coach. There's just no debate about it. You want to see him have maybe a little more tournament success with Alabama this past year, but it's clearly he knows what he's doing, and he's going to be successful there with the resources and all that for quite a while.
Do we it's now real quickly, Javon Quinterly is back in the transfer portal. Javon Quinterly from the Book Richardson era, getting his 7th year of eligibility right here. It is interesting because he actually did turn out to be a pretty good player. He's been hurt, but he's not a bad player.
No, and it's funny, when he entered the portal, I texted someone with Xavier, and I said, please.
You texted Sean and asked him about it.
It wasn't Sean, but I texted someone with Xavier, and I said, please take Javon Quinterly. And the exact quote was, man, come on, we can't do that.
It would be great.
Not that he's not good enough, but it's like, no. Can you imagine the optics of that?
All right, bigger fish. When was the last time you went to Circle K?
The other day, coming back from Yuma.
What did you get?
Just got a soda, nice little drink.
All right, yeah. I went there, and I actually thought about getting a bologna sandwich, but I didn't because what could go wrong with gas station meat? But Circle K, though, is fantastic. You go in there. Here's the great thing. When you're pumping your gas, you can see the PHNX greats, many of them, talking to you as you're pumping the gas. Also, you can get a Polar Pop, or if you're like Sheeran, you got kids, and they're fiending for a little bit of Circle K in the meantime, it's there for you. So again, make sure you're not missing out on all the great stuff. Right now, text PHNX to 31310 to join their SMS subscriber club and get a buy one, get one free on a 32-ounce Polar Pop. Head to CircleK.com/store locator to find Circle K's near you. Again, and the best thing I can say about this is Circle K is for the people, by the people. You go to the toughest intersections in Tucson, we have decided it's Grant and Oracle, correct?
Yeah, times have changed.
All right. Or you can go to Law and Cantata, and guess what you're going to find at Circle K?
I got 2 right by my house.
I mean, I'm going to say, Sheer lives in the. I live in the hood. Sheer lives in the city, right? Or Sheer lives in the in nicer areas. All right, Brad Rich, Mike, looking at the Circle K sushi, thinking, I was trying to rationalize it, but all right, let's see here. BCAT. All right, guys, we got to keep this serious here. We love Murph on the show. A charter member of the Back the A movement. You and I have been together multiple times when Murph has yelled out Back the A. Do you want to tell the people about how Murph scolded me at Section 7, though?
It was during a game, and Mike from across the court yelled out, Murph, Back the A. And Murph just shook his head like, when you're a parent and you're super disappointed in your kid, that was Murph.
Yeah, I felt really, really bad. Dude, I felt really bad about it, but Murph did also message me, and he says, appreciate your backing, just don't do that anymore. And then I said, appreciate backing the A, Murph? Get it? All right. Okay, rank the Pac-12 coaches. That's actually a good one right here. Tommy's number 1.
Number 2 is obvious, I think.
Do we go Cronin 2 and then Dana 3?
Yeah.
And then Andy Enfield 4?
Sure.
We're not putting Bobby Hurley on here. By the way, though, one thing I did find out at Section 7, everybody that knows Bobby Hurley likes Bobby Hurley.
Yeah, I've met Bobby Hurley a few times away from coaching. He's a super good dude.
Yeah.
I know people hate to hear that, but everyone likes him.
All right. We like Bobby Hurley. But you hate Danny Hurley.
Danny Hurley rubs me the wrong way.
All right.
Good coach.
That's called a segue right there.
Hey,
Danny Hurley.
Yeah. Ooh.
You got to put Danny Hurley on that list. You just got.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, I actually forgot about him. He wasn't on my list. But
So you forgot the defending national title. That's good prep work, Sheer.
Well, I crossed out all the Hurley nations. So yeah.
But Danny Hurley, on a serious note, I tweeted this out, and Doug Gottlieb actually messaged me. Look at me throwing names around, Murph, Gottlieb. But I tweeted out, I said that Danny Hurley is a lot like Bob Stoops, and Bobby Hurley is a lot like Mike Stoops, where, and I think there's a lot to that. Yes, he is combustible, but you also watch him, though, and you get the sense that Danny Hurley has an underlying idea of what he's going to be doing there. Whereas with Bobby Hurley, I feel it's throw the ball out there and we're going to run.
Yeah, Bobby's kind of a do-you type of guy. And from what I understand, he doesn't really coach defense and practices, and I guarantee you Danny Hurley does.
Look at Brad Rich. I love that comparison. After Brad Rich got away from the two first names and got it, we're all simpatico around here. All right, but Danny Hurley is clearly on that list right there.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Who else you got? John Calipari next up for me.
Oh, no, I don't have that at all.
I am not putting Calipari on there. As a matter of fact, I'm also wondering if Calipari has an exit route this year at Kentucky, because let's be honest here, Sheer, they've underachieved.
I'm always, I've said this before, how I'm a strict believer in you got to leave when the time is right. And I think Calipari has screwed up and stayed at Kentucky for too long. He's got to get out. I think his career will diminish. The thing is, he's still recruiting, generally speaking. Like, he lucked into Trey Mitchell, for instance, with the whole West Virginia thing. But if he doesn't win this year, I think he's got to get out. And we're all over college basketball because I've always felt he's one of the most overrated coaches in college basketball history. And to me, it's very simple. And I get into this argument all the time, and people call me a homer. I am a homer, and I take no offense to that. Lute Olson, to me, in the grand scheme of things, is a better college basketball coach than John Calipari was. They both have one national title. One's got, I think, 6 Final Fours. The other has 5. But Lute also did it at Arizona and at Iowa. I put Lute Olson higher up than I do John Calipari in the all-time pecking order. Are you counting the UMass title, or is that the one?
No, he didn't win a title. He just got to the Final Four.
Oh, that's right.
Come on, Sheer. You can be honest.
I think Calipari is a good coach. I really do. I don't think he's a bad coach. The problem is when you bring in top class after top class after top class, and you can't win another title, that's going to hang over your head. Because the dude might literally be the best recruiter of all time.
He is the best recruiter of all time. You look around every single team in the NBA. They all have Kentucky All-Stars. You name a team. Let's bring up the Knicks. You've got Julius Randle. Let's bring up the Suns. You got Devin Booker. Let's bring up I can just keep going. You get the point.
Yeah, but to have Anthony Davis, to have that talent and only the amount of titles he has, it's disappointing overall.
Right. Now, is there any chance? I know what Sheer's goal is right here in all of this. There's an underlying goal about bashing John Calipari that we all need to know about. Your goal is to get Sean Miller to Kentucky.
Well, I don't think Sean would do it.
Really?
I don't think Sean's made for Kentucky. By the way, this is funny. Breaking news. San Diego State will deliver a notice to the Mountain West that it is not withdrawing from the league.
Ooh. Now, how does that work? I'm just saying, man, I'll believe the TV deal when I see it. That's where I'm at with this one. By the way, one thing you don't have to believe to see is Four Peaks Brewery, the official brew of PHNX Sports. Now, everybody knows about the Four Peaks last year on the U of A basketball roster. It was Umar Ballo, leader of men, Azuolas Tubelis, Henry Vasar, and Dylan Anderson. Now, Shear tried to run off Dylan Anderson, and Dylan Anderson, along with Frank Caliendo's, I don't want to put that, decided to come back. So the Peaks are back, and the Peaks are back for more. But here's what you got to remember, though. The real Four Peaks is the official brew of PHNX Sports. Check it out. Check out Four Peaks Brew or Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest on Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 years or older to drink Four Peaks. Please drink responsibly. Okay. Now, I do like Ed Cooley, by the way, 5 of a Kind Media. I think that was a good hire for Georgetown. What say you, Shear?
Yeah, Ed Cooley's another one of those good dudes. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, he's
not on our list, though.
Right.
And
I got a few more. I got some hot take guys, too.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Feed them to me.
You ready for your first hot take guy? I got 2 of them. Number 1, Chris Beard.
I love it. I debated a long time about putting Chris Beard on there. I can't believe I'm saying this. He's a really good coach.
He's a good, forget the others. I don't want to say forget, but in terms of a coach, good coach, man.
Is there a more exciting coaching duo in all of college sports than Lane Kiffin and Chris Beard?
Yeah, it's awesome. I would love to cover that.
I have no problem with Chris Beard. I wouldn't put him on there because he's another guy that doesn't know how to coach offense, which greatly bothers me. But, man, he can put together rosters. That Texas roster last year, I think you could make the case was the most talented roster in all of college hoops.
Yeah, absolutely. I could hear it. I could hear the debate.
All right, now.
Coach in the country. I got one more hot name for you.
There are no Big Ten coaches need apply.
No, I thought about, you said Izzo.
Izzo, yeah, but Izzo to me is kind of the outlier to everything.
I don't have anyone. I mean, you could argue that Matt Painter's.
No, you can't. I saw somebody on your board put that. You can't.
He's been good at Purdue, but you're not taking him over Tommy. You're not. He's not on that list.
All right. Who's your other one?
Mick Cronin.
We got to talk about Mick Cronin. Shear thought it was a dumb hire. I actually get a little bit of credit because Brogan convinced me that it was a pretty good hire, and he's been good for UCLA. Here's my problem, though, with him. I definitely think there's a Ben Howland aspect to him, though, where I can see him being run out of LA, to be honest with you. I mean, he's now having to recruit very internationally, but he's also, you look at the domestic 5-star kids that he's brought in, and let's be honest here, Peyton Watson, Bailey, there's another one as well that I think I'm forgetting. But these guys have not panned out, and that's not a great recruiting tool when you're trying to keep all the California kids home while the Tommy guns coming in and taking them.
I thought it was glaring what Giovanni at ESPN tweeted about Cronin, which is basically that the domestic players hadn't said a lot of good, like Amari Bailey. When he went to UCLA, Amari Bailey was supposed to be a lottery pick.
Right. And he's got that potential.
Right. Wound up falling in second round. It would not surprise me at all if Amari Bailey was a really good pro. I think he has that type of game.
Right.
There's other guys that didn't go as high as they maybe thought they would. And then there's other guys like Hawkwez that did, and so I
like your Spanish accent, Shear. That's good.
Did you know that Cronin's only 51 years old?
I know. It feels like he's 81.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really curious, too, to see how they do in the Big Ten. They should do well, but, I mean, they think Arizona fans are like the worst people on earth, and that's like the Big Ten every night.
Right, for sure. Oh, dude, can you imagine having to watch that? Oh,
It's a different type of game, too. Like, I'm not saying UCLA is going to suck in the Big Ten, but it's a different type of game, different type of travel, different type of atmospheres. It's not going to be easy right away. When
Andy Enfield goes in and dominates the Big Ten, there's going to be a lot of apologies, a lot of tears that are going to be shed.
What happens when Arizona goes like 5-0 against Big Ten teams this year?
I think it's going to happen.
You think they beat Michigan State in Palm Springs?
That's the one that I'm a little concerned about.
At Purdue?
Do you want the people to know what you said about Umar Ballo and Zach Edey?
Umar's going to kill Zach Edey.
You said that he would eat him alive.
Okay, I back the A. You said, Shear, you've never been so wrong in your life. I said, Mike, I back the A. Umar is a leader of men. We are going to go into Indianapolis and destroy Purdue.
Right. Now, let's talk about Altman for a second. We get Altman the last 2 years has sucked. I mean, there's no way around it. But I also think it's kind of been a loser group of players. Gary A. isn't good. Will Richardson, kind of a weenie. He definitely has a new roster this year. You got N'Faly Dante back, who's the best big in the conference. That obviously was big for him. You also have you're bringing in Mookie Cook. You're bringing in Jackson Shellstad. You're bringing in Kwame Evans. You got our guy Nate Biddle back. Crete, Nebraska, as you know, TJ Van Martyr, TJ Tua. I could see Oregon winning the conference. I could see him finishing 5th.
Yeah, you want another hot Oregon take for you? The best player in that class will be Jackson Shellstad.
But is that even a hot take? Isn't he was a top 25 kid at this point.
Is he? What's Mookie?
Mookie fell.
This is going to sound bad.
Mookie's like 38 now, dude.
I mean, for me, this is going to sound bad. So Mookie became a movie star. You know, he was in the NBA, whatever it was, Space Jam, whatever it was. And he got a little fat.
Mookie's going to be better than your guys' ranking, though.
Mookie is 27th. And, man, we knew Shellstad all the way up to 24. I don't think Kwame Evans either.
Is that just because Arizona didn't get Kwame Evans, so therefore you have to say you didn't want him?
We don't want him anyway.
That's a good point. That's fair. Kelvin Sampson is an interesting one. I love Kelvin Sampson. I love the style of play he brings, but Scheer is an ageist, so Scheer is not going to want Kelvin Sampson. But I think Kelvin Sampson, if you were to tell me in the next 5 years that he was going to be more successful than Arizona, it wouldn't totally shock me, Scheer.
Would it shock you if I told you that Sampson is younger than Tom Izzo?
How old is Kelvin Sampson?
He's only 67.
That's not bad.
No, I like him. The oldest coach that you would never guess he's so old is Leonard Hamilton.
You know, I almost put Leonard Hamilton on this list. You know who else I almost put on this list was Jim Larranaga.
I like him. Do you know Leonard Hamilton? You would never know this looking at him. Is 74 years old.
Right, but that's what I'm talking about, though. Why do we dismiss somebody just because they're old? There's a lot of hip old people.
Yeah, I mean, because he's also not doing well lately.
Jim Larranaga did well. Rick Pitino did well.
So, yeah, but like Florida State was 9-23 last year.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have put him, but Larranaga would have been the one that I would have been interested in.
How old is Jim Larranaga?
Oh, he's like 86.
He's 73.
But again, when you're a hip 73, that matters. By the way, Brad Rich put it very well. Look at this. Jacob Franklin, if you could put this in here right here, Jacob Franklin, Brad Rich. Jacob Franklin is not listening to me right now. I will do this myself. I'm just kidding with you, dude. Ballo in the Maui Invitational, leader of men. I mean, that's the best way to put it. I'm just kidding with you,
man, too.
What's that?
Who's Duke's big man?
Philip Kowski.
That's their center? That's their 5?
Yeah.
Umar can't guard Filipowski.
No, I'm going to say I think Arizona loses to Duke. I hate this. I think Duke. What's that?
Oh, Arizona cannot go to Duke and beat Duke. That would be. I mean, they can, but that would be an unreal win.
I think Duke's the best team in the country, to be honest with you.
I
hate saying that. We're probably going to lose a couple live stream viewers right now, but we're going to go an hour on this show today because we've got a lot to get to. And I'm bummed because I'm not allowed to work Tuesday. Got to take the day off. Saul Bookman told me, Mike, you got to take the day off. I'm bummed about it, but you know what? Following orders.
I'm going on vacation next week again.
Where are you going?
I'm just going to Vegas for a few days.
Oh, I'm going to be in Tahoe in 2 weeks.
There we go.
Dude, all right. Now, we got some reads to get to here. Oh, Illegal Pete's. Scheer, when was the last time you went to Illegal Pete's?
Been a little bit, Mike. I'm going to be honest with you.
All right. Now, kick off your Margarita Mondays at Illegal Pete's, exclusive to Arizona locations. $3 margs all day, every Monday. Nothing brightens up that Monday mood more than soaking up the sun with a few margaritas. And don't forget about a Taco Tuesday. $2 tacos all day, every day. Enjoy your favorite chicken, pork, and veggie tacos for $2. So swing by and start your day right with Illegal Pete's. Check it out. All right. And I got one more read. And then we're going to get to a little bit of Arizona football here, and then we're going to sign off. But then I got Saturday Neon. All right, Saturday Neon. Now you might say, Mike, how did you get such a cool-looking backdrop here? Saturday Neon. That's where it comes from. Go to SaturdayNeon.com and use PHNX for 10% off your order today. Free shipping for orders over $200. This company was basically started by people like Mike Luke and Jason Scheer, salt of the earth, two friends that put this together and made this great product that we would never be able to make. Check it out, SaturdayNeon.com. All right, now we're getting some questions coming in hot and heavy. How many commitments are we going to get when Sheer goes to Vegas? Sheer, I think there will be a commitment next week.
I'm going on a Sunday to a Tuesday, so there might not be. Usually when I drive, I think the last 10 times I've driven, there's a commitment. Right when I get to the Hoover Dam, so I have no phone connection.
All right, and that's when Elijah Rushing is going to move up his commitment date and say that we will be assigning with Arizona. Brad Rich said to follow on yesterday. Oh, Sheer, you're getting called out for being a liar. To follow on yesterday's pod, Sheer's comment on him liking Dylan Anderson, but him not being a very good player, comes on at the 15:22 mark on the With Tommy Lloyd's roster finally set pod on 6:16. Sheer, you're being called out by your own board members.
Did I say literally he's not a very good player? Were those my exact words?
I'm going to take the great Brad Rich. It is got to avoid joining that group of people.
When you're going after a girl and you say she has a nice personality,
Well, I mean, that's essentially what you said about Dylan.
Yeah, no, that's what that is.
All right. Now let's get to a little bit of Arizona football. Then we're going to sign off. By the way, Brad Rich Ballo in the Maui Invitational was a leader of men. We need more of that. Arizona's running back room. Got to give a little bit of love to Arizona football here. We're going to start really getting hot and heavy with this next week. But first, let's talk about there it is, Brad Rich calling you out. Now, Arizona's running back room, I believe, is one of the top 3 running back rooms in the entire conference here. We've been talking about the receivers, but you got Michael Wiley, you got Jonah Coleman, you got DJ Williams, you're bringing in Brandon Coleman, you got Speedy Luke, Tham as well. I think the under running back is being a little bit slept on at the U of A, Sheer.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's a good situation to have. I wonder how they're going to divide the carries. That's my biggest question, but it's not a lack of talent. I mean, that's for sure. And the thing that I said this before that I like is that each guy kind of complements the other. DJ Williams and Jonah Coleman are somewhat similar. Wiley's not. Speedy Luke is very different from the other guys. Brandon Johnson isn't going to play. He's a true freshman, but they like him quite a bit. It's going to be real interesting to see how they divide the carries. And I think we're going to see a lot of 2-back sets. And I think we're going to see sets where running backs are lined up in the slot as wide receivers.
There's a lot of people that wonder, what kind of family environment and whatnot that Jed Fish has here. Melo Alvarez, we appreciate you, but we got to talk about this a little bit. I got to say this, though. The fact that you got Michael Wiley back, Michael Wiley had some options. He might not be an NFL player, but at the same time, he also played very, very well for Arizona down the stretch, and he projects as one of the better running backs in the conference. I think Michael Wiley is one of the few gifts that Kevin Sumlin actually left here.
Yeah, I love Michael Wiley. I'm laughing because there's more realignment news. But
what's more realignment news? Yeah, we'll get back to Wiley. What's up?
Your mark's the best because he timed it where the Big 12 has signed and executed its television contracts with Fox and ESPN. The completion of the deal. So they completed the deal today.
As San Diego State is basically also saying that we might not go to the conference.
This is awesome.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Let's and again, Melo Alvarez, you can come back now. Let's talk about this though for a second here, and we'll get back to Arizona running backs and we'll sign off. But your mark gets it, dude. Your mark, nobody has ever won up your mark and all of this stuff. Your mark is a troll and he gets things done. We like that, Sheer.
Yeah, it's like me. I'm a troll, but I get my stuff done.
You get your stuff done. You cause fights with everyone on Twitter, but at the same time, I'm guessing that you feel that they deserve it. You fight. You're like you only fight for a good reason.
Like people got to. I'm a man of the people, right? Like that's what I am. I do it for the kids.
All right, now let's talk about the running back room for a little bit. Expectations. One thing that I would like to see a little bit more. I'd like to see a little bit more DJ Williams this year. I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
He's got to stay healthy, though. I mean, the reason we didn't see more DJ Williams last year is because he wasn't healthy. They love DJ Williams. He just has to stay healthy.
Right, because I believe that he's got a little bit of a dynamic factor that the other two in front of him don't have necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, when Arizona brought DJ Williams here, a coach told me he has something that the other guys don't. And that wasn't a knock on a guy like Michael Wiley or whatever. That is when this guy gets going, if you watch him like his first year at Auburn, he was an animal. Like he was killing SEC defenses. And he's just got a different gear. He hasn't been able to stay healthy at Arizona. If he stays healthy, it wouldn't surprise me at all if there's a very real competition between him and Jonah Coleman for the second back.
All right, Sheer, we're going to sign off here. More realignment news, which means it's a great time on Monday to have Tony Altimore back on. Tony, we love you. Sheer, where can they find you causing problems doing all your stuff?
WildcatAuthority.com, at Jason Sheer on Twitter, and the Wildcat Scoop podcast with Shelby. And tomorrow, the rest of the day I'll be mourning Fili B. I think Fili B has one more game, actually. I think there's a loser's bracket.
At the end of the day, Fili B had a double-double and flirted with a triple-double.
Yeah. Haters going to hate.
Right. Brad Rich, by the way, great. Everybody on here, great remarks, as always. Appreciate all you. Brad Rich, you're allowed to make fun of me. I was just giving you a hard time. Well, you expect people to come in here and make fun of me. I break your hand with my jaw. That's what we do right there. Cheer for Jason Sheer. I'm Mike Luke. You guys have a great weekend. We'll be back with you Monday with a lot of realignment talk. For Jason Sheer, Jacob Franklin, I'm Mike Luke. You've been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.